Good afternoon, everybody. Evening? Evening. And welcome to another episode of Talking Skritt. It's been a while for an actual official episode, but the Seekers of the Obscure was announced. I have a really jank cut stored on the channel previously because I had a power outage in the middle of it. I still need to even cut the beginning and end of it off and then even get that uploaded to YouTube, but that's a completely different story. Today, we're just talking about relics because relics definitely seem to be I don't know if I want to call it a problem for the community, but people had issues with it. So we're going to talk about relics. We're going to talk about the mechanics. We're going to talk about some of the problems people have with it. And we're also I'm gonna have at least one argument that I'm gonna tell people they're very dumb for making. So we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go from there. But you hear on chat. I got my co-host with me today. It's Arlee.
Good evening.
It's her. Hi. She exists. Brand new homeowner, new background.
Yep.
Still got to get all the
coming together, but you know,
we'll get to watch the evolution of your player housing as things go on. So to get to everything here. So what are relics? We're going to do a small recap on this before we get into everything. Relics are going to be a new equipment slot. I'd have a screenshot here. I'd move to the 2-panel, but I don't want to break everything because I didn't test the new 2-panel that ZeKrioX made. Zach, thank you. I still love the 2-panel that you did for us. I really do appreciate it. But relics, they're going to be added over on the right-hand side of your screen and your hero panel. So instead of 2 rows of 3, you're going to have a row of 4 and then a row of 3. You're going to have a relic. What relics are is they are taking and we're going to use Rune of the Scholar as the example for a lot of stuff here. Rune of the Scholar.
Best rune.
It's like the primary power DPS rune for a lot of people. So Rune of the Scholar, 6-piece bonus. When you're above 90% HP, you deal 10% more damage. It's very good, especially considering ball up and stack, and then the healer can just make sure you're topped off, and then you're basically free damage bonus. Plus the stat bonuses are power and precision, if I recall correctly.
Yep, I think so.
But the thing that really matters is the 6-piece. Now, effectively, what's going to happen, they're going to do a balance pass on both relics and runes going through all of this. That 10% damage bonus above 90% health is getting pulled off of the Rune of the Scholar. And it's getting put onto the Relic of the Scholar. So you'll have your runes, and your runes are just stats. And then you'll have your relic, and your relic is a special ability. And that's the way, that's the whole thing. So, just specifically on the concept of relics, I like the idea. Because the idea of like the problem with relics comes from a tiny little caveat of the equipment system called legendary runes, and we'll get there.
We'll get there. But I like the idea of shoving the thing off to its own thing, because immediately it opens up the option of mixing and matching runes a lot more. Because before, most of the time, if you're using a rune, you want that 6-slot bonus because it's usually that good.
Yep.
You know, but now I could mix and match some to tweak to get the exact stats that I really want as an option with, and I'm losing less by doing that.
Exactly. Now, there were some points made by Ruby that I do want to go over before we get to the concept of legendary runes and how they're going to interact with the system, because that's where a lot of the anger comes from. So Ruby says, what happens to rune slot 6? Slot 6 will be another stat bonus. Some runes already have a stat bonus. Other runes will be getting a stat bonus,
right? Which
is good. Can I equip 5 runes plus one of another set? To quote Ruby, you can, as you can now, but this will be giving up the 6-slot bonus of one rune set for the 1-slot bonus of another. Exactly the same as it works now. Doesn't matter. Just exactly how it works. Will relics that launch cover all the special effects from each 6 rune set? Not all existing 6 rune bonuses will be available as relics at launch. We will continue adding additional core relics over time as part of our ongoing commitment to improving core game features. Good, great. And I'm also realizing that I should have gone over the blog post first before I did the clarifying bits that Ruby did. So my apologies, friends. Give me 1 second to pull that up. Getting flustered already because I'm not. Relics. I had the link up and it got closed.
Oh, I have it.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so relics. We're going to get 40 core relics and 12 expansion relics. Core relics.
52.
52 at launch, plus more as updates roll out. So, core relics will release. Core relics are going to be craftable. Each character of level 6. Okay, so 12 expansion relics. Additional core relics will be added over time as part of our ongoing commitment of improving our core game features. Our overarching goal is to offer more viable choices despite fewer overall options. It's fine. Fine, it's great. When the expansion launches, each character level 60 or above will receive a relic chest to get you started, and you get to pick 3 core relics currently. This number is subject to change, so it may go up, it may go down.
So this one part that I was reading, and I was like, so does that mean that you get to pick 3 things out of a longer list, that you get 3 relics, or are there 3 options and you're choosing one of
I
3?
think you get 3 out of the list of all of the core relics.
Yeah, that's kind of how it read to me.
Yeah.
But
that's from what I understand, that is what you are getting. You are getting 3 relics out of everything. You know what, Zek? I really hope the Rock Dogs. I hope all the like Golemancers. I hope the Golemancers doesn't. I hope Relic of the Golemancers gives you the Golemancers summon. Yeah, there's actually 3 posts pop about Ruby clarifying things, and I will be going over all of them. I did make sure and go back and get all of the red posts from that thread. Feels weird saying red posts after being on MMO Champion talking about blue posts for so long.
I mean, I'm so excited that they're actually using their forums.
That's a secondary topic if we still have time. Deo gave us a fantastic topic to discuss involving the forums and their move to use that more often. But just want to make sure I keep up with chat. Rock Dog Summon. Pop about the 5-1 rune build. That's kind of like the 9-9-14 whatever builds before the trait change.
I still think 5-1 will be an unusual thing, but I could see like 3-3 or 2-2-2, things like that.
Depending on like stat breakpoints and stuff, but basically like the 6-piece rune bonus was so strong that you never wanted to not take it.
Right.
So I kind of like the idea behind it opening things up there, because you're looking at runes, you're just like, okay, how do I cover my stats? So it's something I'm looking forward to. That's a ping from there. Nope. I'll look at that later. Ping from a friend. All additional core relics will not be account bound and can be crafted and shared between players. So core relics are craftable and not account bound. I'm assuming once you equip them, they're soulbound, much like other exotic gear, because the image they show is the Relic of the Zephyrite, which is soulbound in the equipment screen. But I figured that that's basically them showing us that core relics are exotics and will function just like other exotics in the game.
Yeah.
Craftable was the first thing that they told us, so it's not like we have to do anything weird about them. We're going to be able to craft them. I'm hoping that they end up using like rune crafting materials, because I don't know how much people actually craft runes. Yeah. Trust me, I've got all the links up. I just have to make sure, because my main monitor with my camera on it has the Discord thing, because Discord, if I keep a window over the call with Arlee, actually culls the video feed. So us on stream, because I'm using a clip out of the windows, would disappear after a few seconds if I put a window over that, which is just like, Discord, why are you doing this to me? But like using the rune crafting materials would be what I hope happens. The one thing that I am happy to see is the example they give is the Relic of the Zephyrite, which reads as follows: Summon crystals that apply protection and resolution to allies after using an elite skill. Crystal duration scales with the recharge of the used skill.
Mm-hmm.
Internal cooldown of 30 seconds. So I'm assuming that means that the duration of the crystals scales with the cooldown, in that the longer the cooldown you use, the longer the crystals will last. That's my assumption as a game designer, because if you did the inverse, that would be kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Because then you'd have like the spammable ones like Feel My Wrath for a Guardian, which is like, I think, a 30-second cooldown or shorter. If that had some kind of crazy long duration on the crystals, that would be real bad. But I'm gonna it's jokes, but only like half jokes. The cooldowns on racial skills are hella long.
Uh-huh.
And there are racial elite skills.
Well, so I was amused because both of the examples they gave involve elite skills, but also the one that the duration increases with the cooldown of relative to the cooldown of the skill that was used. I was like, is this them subtly being like, oh, please use your racial elites, please, please, please?
That would be great. Because I'm doing my my Pathbreaker, my Ranger WW leveling, I'm using the Char artillery support elite skill, because I don't have anything that I actually, because the build that I'm trying to use, because I'm trying to play Druid, and I will fully admit I pulled from Meta Battle because I have no idea what I'm doing with Druid. I would very much like to just tell me what to do, and then I can figure it out as I go. It wants me to use a glyph, so I don't have the glyph yet because I'm not level 80. I can't get Druid, so I'm just like, okay, fuck it, because I feel like having some nostalgia. Charlie, which artillery barrage, the range on the cast is about the AoE of water overload. It's tiny. You're basically in melee, and it's like a 1.5 second cast.
Yeah.
The AoE is decent, which is also about the AoE of water overload, but oh god, the cast time and the range is just I wish they would do something with the lead skills or just delete them.
Yeah.
I don't want them to delete. I want them to do something with them, but yeah. Which the thing about it is, let me go to the wiki here, because the Rune of the Zephyrite, which ostensibly is what Relic of the Zephyrite, Rune of the Zephyrite, Superior Rune of the Zephyrite. The 6-piece bonus is super speed. Super speed you grant lasts 33% longer. Using an elite skill grants super speed for 5 seconds. Cooldown 10 seconds. So
the new one's way better.
Yeah, the new one
sounds way better.
The new one is protection and resolution in like multiple. It says crystals, so I'm assuming it's either those collectible things that we got starting with the Ventari skills with the little orbs that were created, or it's like multiple things that pulse protection and resolution in their area.
Oh yeah, I was imagining the second way, but I could see how it could be the first way too.
Yeah, especially because what is it, Bunker Up or something? The one trait for engineers where you every time you deal, like I think it's on crit, you create a med pack and a mine. I don't know if that's still in the game, to be entirely honest. Which
at one point it was a thing.
Yeah, it is. Sure. It was a thing, and I hope that it's not. Pop, I know Revenants being unable to use racial skills makes me sad. It really does. I kind of wish that we had more. I kind of wish they would just add more legends to the game, and just have more legends. It doesn't matter. The legends don't have to tie to a trait line. Just add more legends.
Yeah.
And just have a legend per.
Well, this is getting off topic from what we were talking about, but like the legends being tied to a trait line is kind of integral to what they were, because that's how the whole class is designed. And then they were adding new ones with the elite specs. So like what would be the point of the different legends if there's no different trait line or ability with it?
Yeah. Okay, so getting back on topic. Expansion relics. If you have Secrets of the Obscure, you'll be able to acquire expansion. I'm reading directly from the blog post here. Let me actually just drop the blog post in chat here, just so nobody thinks I'm talking shit. Paste.
That's all we do here.
Oh yeah, talking Skritt. It's
talking Skritt, talking shit.
It's a euphemism. There's only 2 of us, so clearly this is all very dumb. While these are not, you'll be able to acquire expansion relics. While these are not more powerful than core relics, expansion relics allow us to design effects that are more intricate, bold, and thrilling. I had to make sure to enunciate there because there's an exclamation point. They will also be closely tied to the narrative of the expansion, revealing some tidbits for those with a penchant for lore. Expansion relics can be obtained through collections, achievements, or story progression. While you can't trade them, they are available to all characters on your account by visiting an NPC relic vendor after you've unlocked them. Okay, so I will fully admit the first thing here about the NPC. This is exactly like rings, amulets, and trinkets that we have right now. When you got certain stat combinations that like, okay, what is it? There's a dragon trinket or ring or amulet from End of Dragons that you had to do an achievement for or something. Once you did the achievement, you got one of them, but then you can go to the Laurel vendor and buy another. It got added to the Laurel vendor. So everything I'm thinking here is that the NPC will charge you laurels for expansion relics to get another one. And I don't know, like, Laura, your point about laurels, or your point about free or very cheap, that depends on your opinion on laurels. But I feel like laurels are going to be the currency that we're dealing with here.
I mean, it could be. It's possible that they could make it some other thing that they feel like there's too much of in the thing in general.
Yeah, or they might give you multiple avenues for purchase. Oh, I'm sorry, pup. I have an excessive amount of laurels, but that's because I log into the account into the game, and I do something, and I have just kind of a point on the map that I threw myself a while ago. Like, I'm going to level a ranger in WV. I'm almost there. I'm halfway there. 42.
I had plenty of laurels until I started buying the legendary chests for making my shining blade. Now I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel with laurels constantly.
Choosing that laurel chest every 30 days, huh, Arlee?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm over halfway to 100. I'm almost done.
You can do it. I believe in you. You have the fortitude. I still have to pick my next legendary target because I made the Bifrost, and it's just like, do I really want to focus on something else next? T6 Matt's bag every time? I get that hat. I get that. You can literally only get them from login rewards and achievement point milestones. So, yeah, it is the most boring kind of time gate. I agree. 100%.
Well, you get login rewards, too.
Yeah, you do get...
I'm mostly getting them these days.
Yeah, like... Well, it was... laurels were... Shit, what were laurels for before the dailies?
Oh, you mean what you got for them?
Was it doing the daily, weekly, and monthly achievements?
I think so.
Well, hey, at least we get our quarterly achievements back. Achievements. The Wizard's Vault. But that's another topic entirely. So the one that they give the example of is the Relic of the Wizard's Tower. After using an elite skill, shield yourself with a projectile reflecting barrier while summoning a wave that pulls enemies towards you. Cooldown, 30 seconds.
Ooh, that one sounds cool.
That is pretty cool. I feel like there's going to be... See, the problem, I don't know what the hell bruisers are in PvP anymore, but I feel like the Relic of the Wizard's Tower is going to be pretty useful for bruisers in PvP. Or anybody that looks to bunker anything.
Yeah. It could also be very useful for melee. You just want to pull things into them so they don't try and fight them at a distance.
Yeah. And honestly, and I'm assuming that projectile reflecting barrier is going to be just magnetic aura. Because if they give us a unique buff for Relic of the Wizard's Tower, I'm going to be kind of mad. Because it removes synergy for the relic.
Yeah.
Because if you take anything that interacts with auras, like a lot of stuff for Elementalist, for example. Catalyst, which we were talking about before the show even started, I feel like you're losing out not using existing structures.
Yeah.
So I hope that the projectile reflecting barrier is magnetic aura. I hope.
Maybe it'll be a bear projectile reflecting barrier.
It just reflects projectiles from Brekka and only when Brekka throws bears at you.
Yes.
Which means that this is a new was it the guild hunt? Was that what it was called? New guild hunt meta. Yeah.
Poor Dale.
Sorry, Dale. Okay. Now we're going through the blog post, so we're gonna get into the nettles here.
Yeah, you're getting to the part of the blog post that I had a big question about.
Okay,
and so she might have clarified it later, but
relics of both types will function in PvE, PvP, and WW game modes. Though some relics will have slight changes in tuning and functionality to better fit competitive environments, which makes sense because that's literally everything else in the game. After Secrets of the Obscure launches, we'll also be adding relics during our quarterly updates to shake up builds and give players more opportunities to express themselves on the battlefield, which everything previously we talked about, fine. The idea that we are getting the core ability of rune sets, which, let's be real, the 6-piece bonus, that was the design of it for the longest time. This is the reason why you want to slot all 6 points. That moving off to a completely different rune set, great. And the double reason I'm super happy about, I'll get to when I get to Ruby's clarifying posts on the forums, because I use Celestial Traveler gear, and I'm very happy about everything that's going on. Legendary runes and relics. This is the big uproar.
Yeah.
We believe the introduction of relics will allow for more meaningful choices when building your characters. To accomplish this, some of the functionality of legendary runes will move to the new relic slot, i.e. the 6-piece bonus, because that's kind of what we've been talking about. While legendary runes will no longer have 6-tier bonus effects, other than stats, they will retain their attribute swapping flexibility, which is kind of a big deal. Legendary relics will be introduced to Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure during one of the quarterly releases in 2024. These prestigious relics will offer the convenience of freely swapping between the various relic effects. Players who have already crafted legendary runes will be compensated with significant progress towards unlocking legendary relics. In fact, each of the 7 legendary runes you create will unlock further progress towards these relics. We'll be able to share more details when we are closer to launch of legendary relics next year.
So that's where I have a concern.
Okay.
I think it's good that they're going to be granting significant progress. You know,
right.
We can debate what significant is, but hopefully it is substantial. My concern is the way that words. I worry that part of the process for making relics will include making legendary runes first. Like you make those to get through parts to make their legendary relics. And if that was going to be the case, personally, since I don't have any legendary runes right now, it makes it like such a far down, like I'm never going to get it, basically, kind of thing.
Okay, so I don't think any of the clarifying posts tell you what you want to hear. I am assuming that there is effectively 2 tracks to getting the legendary relic.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Because requiring legendary runes to get legendary, especially all 7 of them, and for anybody wondering, like, what do you mean 7? When you go underwater, your aqua breather becomes your helm.
What's an aqua breather? What? What are you talking about?
That lovely talking Skritt tradition about talking about underwater combat and Guild Wars 2 being the best underwater combat of an MMO, but it's still underwater combat. It is a Winter's Day. It is a Winter's Day reward. And see, you know what the problem with that Winter's Day reward, Deo, that aqua breather? It's not a skin. The particle effect on the Winter's Day aqua breather is unique to the item.
Yeah.
So when you unlock the Winter's Day Aqua Breather with the like crystal, the winter crystal, the ice crystal effect around your face, you have to, if you want that on a character, you have to do that per character. It's not a skin.
Yeah.
Because the skin is just the basic default Aqua Breather skin.
Oh, remember
made me-
when we
I
all
did it
figured
once and
out
I
you
stopped.
can't drown yourself in Guild Wars 2? That was funny. You take off the Aqua Breather, you're still fine.
Yeah, you don't need the you just lose the helm stats.
Uh-huh.
A cosmetic look not attached to a cosmetic. I know, Deo. I know. It just it upsets me that they went through the trouble of making the best underwater combat an MMO could possibly have.
Mm-hmm.
And when people bitch, they just folded and let go of all of it. Now, I think the problem is just people were gonna bitch, and something like underwater combat. Do you really want to die on the hill of underwater combat?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole nother conversation. Just farm winter berries and get an ascended. Yeah, I know.
Oh
I
my
know.
God.
Like you can do that too, but it's just like farming winter berries. Okay, and then the final bit is the outro stuff of let the theory crafting begin. Secrets of this year will give player virtually endless new possibilities for their characters' builds. To be fair, there is a lot of new possibilities for builds that are coming with Secrets of the Obscure, between elite spec weaponry coming to builds that don't slot that elite spec, to all of the new weapons that core, like just baseline, everyone's going to get, plus all of the relics, and then the changes to runes. There's a lot of like buildcraft shakeup that's going on in Secrets of the Obscure, and I'm very happy about it.
Like anytime you shake up the buildcraft, people are going to freak out because they've gotten comfortable with what they do and they like it, and change is bad.
Yeah. Independent rune attributes and relic effects are just one way to expand on your choices. Don't forget that each profession will have an additional weapon combinations. Yeah, okay. August 22nd. Day before my birthday. I get a birthday present from ArenaNet, which is also my account's birthday. So I get
Is it? Didn't they originally launch Guild Wars 2 on August 25th?
Yes,
and
but
early
start.
access was the 23rd or something.
Which is my birthday, because Krista actually got me my key for my birthday.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's interesting to me that they're lining up this new way of doing things with the anniversary of Guild Wars 2. And I'm like, I wonder if that's intentional.
I feel like it's definitely intentional.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But we're going to get into the clarifying post, which I kind of started with. So I started with, what happens to rune slot 6. We talked about that. Can I equip 5 runes and +1 of another set? Yes. And then Arlee was just like, well, what if you have a +3/3 or a 2/2/2? And it's just like, depends on what the build craft is. What the fuck? The one thing that, I'm going to hold my thoughts there because the one rune that I'm looking at that I've always wanted to actually put in a build, I've never been able to make it work. I'll get there. Will relics launch cover all the special effects? No, but like the blog post said, where they're going to be adding more every quarterly update. Can you explain the note about the choice of 3 core relics? When we say your choice of 3 relics, we mean that you'll get to choose a total of 3 relics, exact number subject to change, but that's our current plan, from among the available core relics. So, like I said, we were talking about it for the of the 40, you get 3 of them. Which, hi Daryl. But like I said, like a lot of people are gonna be like Scholar +2. Because Scholar is kind of like a huge deal. But I honestly think that that's going to get shaken up, because when we talked about the difference between the Rune of the Zephyrite and the Relic of the Zephyrite, completely different bonuses.
Yeah.
So
they might not be the exact same things.
Well, and
I could see a world in where, because they're looking to shake up builds a bit, where they don't have a relic for the Rune of Scholar off the bat, because it's one of the most used ones, and if you're trying to shake up things, just leaving it off would force everybody to redo things.
Arlee. Oh God. I think that I think that might piss people off more than the legendary rune stuff. Ah, no relic of the scholar at launch. Oh god.
I mean, I use scholar runes, so I'd be, you know, in the same boat. But at the same time, like if you're looking to really shake things up, then shake things up.
That's you know, I agree with you. It would certainly be interesting for us to be able to cover.
I would love to be like, I was right.
Okay. I know from the original like combat options blog post for the Secrets of the Obscure launch or info launch, they said that Relic of the Trooper is going to be a thing, and it's going to be the same as the Rune of the Trooper, where all of your allies that are affected by your shouts cleanse a condition.
Except shouts were killed, remember?
Shouts
Oh
are
no,
fine.
banners were. My bad.
Banners are dead. Shouts are fine.
Yes.
But Relic of the Thief is going to be different from Rune of the Thief in that the Relic of the Thief is going to grant a stacking 1% damage buff every time you use a skill with a cooldown or a resource cost, which I think stacks up to 5 or 6%.
Oh, sorry. Cat.
Yeah. Was that Kiri or Butters?
Butters trying to get at Daryl's flax milk for some reason.
Butters. I don't know if you can turn flax milk into butter, my friend. But so clearly the Rune of the Thief and the Relic of the Thief are completely different. So of the 40 core relics that we're getting in Secrets of the Obscure on launch, we have no guarantee that we have parity between the matching rune set.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be crazy in and of itself.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a whole other thing. But I think so. This is one of the things that I feel honestly is like no matter what they do, that people are going to be upset because
absolutely
they're shaking things up. But I think once people adjust and get used to the new system, unless there's some big thing about it we don't know about that ruins it all, it seems like a really interesting and like for build diversity in the long term would be better.
Yes. To get to a few more of the clarifying points Ruby posted, there are runes that have the exact same stat combinations up to 5, and the 6th rune is different. For example, runes of the pack, fireworks, and surging. Now that Rune of the Pack actually gives stats, 125 precision for the 6th rune, but the other two only have a special ability and give no stat bonuses. Or does the 25% increase in movement speed count as a stat increase? Now this is what makes me happy. In cases like this, we'll be making sure that runes duplicate the 1 to 5 bonuses and have a unique 6-slot stat. In this example, 25% movement speed will count as a stat increase and will be seen on a handful of rune 6 pieces. I run Runes of the Traveler, which are Celestial on 135 and are boon and condition duration on 2-4, and then 25% move speed on 6. Because I went, when I went for Celestial everything on my Elementalist, I committed to the bit, and I told myself I could only use Celestial runes. So I am getting buffed in my Elementalist build because I am getting a relic, which means that I can add a special ability on everything I do, which is completely on top of Runes of the Traveler because everything I have is a stat bonus.
I was going to say that's the thing too, is I feel like one of the problems with the current system is that inherently a lot of times runes that have the stat or ability bonuses, the 6, lose out to all the other ones that give something extra.
Yep. Changes like these haven't been seen since 2015 with Hot, so I can see the shakeup being a bit intimidating. Yeah. Well, I fear change, and I will keep my bushes. I don't remember. It was a commercial for something, and it's something that Krista and I say a lot about people that fear change because it was.
I mean, I fear change.
Some British commercial forever ago, but it's one of those things where it's just like I love it. I love the fact that it's shaking up Buildcraft more than just balance changes on traits and abilities.
Oh yeah.
I love the fact that there's another vector for them to say like, oh, we're just introducing a new relic, and everybody's just like, Okay, final one from the original clarification in the thread from Ruby. Will you be retiring any runes due to duplicates or otherwise? No. Period. All of the existing rune sets will have unique stat combinations, and none of them will be removed. Nothing is going. Everything is staying. Balance will change, which I fully expected, but no runes are going away. At all. Which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
Because being told, hey, all of the runes in your gear are deprecated, when all of the runes in your gear turn gray, that's kind of not great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, don't like that. It also gives them the ability to, because one of the problems that I found with runes is that when they gave the rune a name, they had to make everything thematic all the way through.
Oh. Sorry.
That's
You
okay.
can finish what you're saying, and then I'll say what I just realized.
Okay. So, like, now that they're able to do just the runes are just stats, they can change stuff and make it more interesting. So that maybe we will have a 2/2/2 or a 3/3 or a 5/1.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like it'll be weird, but I like weird.
Mm-hmm.
Please, what you just realized?
So I forgot that I had actually switched off of using Runes of the Scholar. I used to use Runes of the Scholar, but now currently I have all Runes of the Elementalist, which are 25 power, condition damage, and then the 6 is condition damage and condition duration.
Oh, okay. Okay, going with the thematic rune set with runes of the elemental. This is your celestial gear?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Is it still just armor and weapons that you did, or did you get your trinkets, your right side?
I have armor, most of the trinkets. I think there's one or two that is still not, that I haven't switched. Well, I just had it open and I closed it. But yeah, I think there's some on the accessories that I haven't gotten switched over yet.
I had all of the celestial accessories purchased via Laurels a while ago because I was running a 5 Signet Warrior celestial build. Don't judge me.
Well,
please don't judge me.
As we previously mentioned, all of my laurels are going to Shards of the Crown for the foreseeable future.
so it's going to be a while. I mean, you could craft them, Arlee.
I craft them as I can too, but this is honestly, buying them with laurels is so way faster than farming up all of the elderwood and the mithril.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So let's see.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, I was wrong. All of my accessories are still sinister.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Which works because the all the condi damage bonus that you have with the runes.
Although my aqua breather is celestial.
There you go. Committing to the bit. Woo. Yeah. Now there were, from that previous post with the 6 points, Ruby made 2 more posts. The first one is another clarification. What will happen for rune sets with a special ability on slots 2 and 4? Unique 2 and 4 slot bonuses will become raw stats. Boon and condition duration increases are not considered unique and will not be removed from runes. So, percentage increases to boon and condition durations are still considered stats, like move speed. So those aren't going anywhere. Now, the rune set that I was talking about previously when I brought this up is the Rune of Exuberance. I will not blame you if you don't know what that is, Arlee.
Mm-mm.
Rune of Exuberance deals entirely with vitality.
Oh.
Slots 1, 3, and 7 are 25, 50, and 100 vitality.
Okay.
The slot 2 bonus is 3% of your vitality becomes healing power. Slot 4 is 5% of your vitality becomes precision. And slot 6 is 7% of your vitality becomes power.
Okay.
Which means that 2, 4, and 6, because they are not saying that conversions count as stats, Yet, I don't know if they've clarified that. Conversions are abilities and will be replaced.
I don't know.
Which means that the Rune of Exuberance is either going to stay exactly as is, much like my Runes of the Traveler, because condition duration, boon duration, and move speed are all stats, or it's going to be completely revamped.
I feel like conversions should count as stats because you're converting into a stat. So you're basically getting a stat.
I agree. I do tend to agree because they're not unique abilities.
Yeah.
Like, they're not weird. It's not something that has a cooldown. It's just like, it is just stats.
Yeah.
Part of me, like, I've always wanted to make something that uses Runes of Exuberance. Because I feel like you could make something wildly meatball-y in Dub-V-Dub, but everybody's just like, wow, you have so much health, but also, why do you have all this damage? And it's just like, part of me wants to throw that on my druid, just for shits and giggles, because what was it? Nomads is where's my Google window? Wiki. I love that I type wiki and it goes straight to Guild Wars 2. Nomads.
Yep.
Nomads is toughness, vitality, healing power. A nomad's druid in Dub-V-Dub, which would be great. If it had concentration instead of power and precision, it could be nice for Hero Spectre. Yeah. I feel like the purpose behind it was Bruiser. Like, if I still had the ability to play the warrior I played in Heart of Thorns, which was a mace shield longbow berserker, I could have run Exuberance.
Right.
But because I think warrior has a, what is it, great power or something? There's a
great responsibility.
Sadly, no. Warrior. I don't know. Great power? No. Warrior. I'm just going to go straight to warrior because I know it's one of the traits. Traits? See list of warrior traits. F vitality. Great fortitude. Gain vitality and ferocity based on the percentage of your power. So yeah, like, great fortitude plus Runes of Exuberance was kind of like a thing that I really wanted to mess with. So I'm gonna have to wait and see how things work with it. Runes of Uncle Ben. God damn it, Deo. Change runes. Are there runes of the spider? Now I have to. Part of the show is just gonna be Google, like, using the wiki. Rune of the spider. Rune of the spider doesn't exist. There we go. There's the opportunity, Deo. Rune of the spider with great power. But yeah, great fortitude. Like, you get vitality and ferocity off of power, but like, it doesn't exist yet exactly. But yeah, exuberance is something that I think is in kind of a weird spot for now, until we see like the patch notes that come out before the 22nd. Okay. More answers to questions we've seen frequently. Do we need 7, or will 6 that everyone crafted be enough towards the progress? This is, legendary runes to legendary relic. We recognize most players will only have crafted up to 6 legendary runes, but for players that have crafted 7, the extra effort will be recognized. That said, there is no requirement to make 7 legendary runes.
Ooh, but so that would indicate maybe glimmer of hope that you don't have to craft runes to get
at
to
all.
relics.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would hope that you don't have to craft legendary runes at all to get to relics. It's just that I hope that crafting the legendary runes is additional. Like, I'm hoping it's not even a one-time thing. Like, I'm hoping that, like, they keep that in there so that even after Secrets of the Obscure launches, if you craft a legendary rune, it moves you towards a legendary relic. Because I feel like that's you're working towards build enhancers, and I feel like that is a thing that needs to be done. Why only progress towards rather than rewarding the relic itself? The relic will need to be unlocked separately. because relics will have new abilities beyond those covered by runes previously, and the legendary relic will be capable of expanding with new relic releases.
Yeah.
Sensible. Is the relic choice box granted to each character over level 60, or do you get one per account? The relic choice box is granted per character.
Oh, good.
So, every character you have above level 6 at 60 and above, you get a relic choosy box when Secrets of the Obscure launches. You get 3 relics per character at 60 or above.
That's awesome.
So those are the current 3. I'm going to double check because thank you, Virtually Interrupted, for your news bot. I'm just going to go double check here.
Did she address the question of whether the existing
Python
upgrade extractors will pull out relics the way that they pull out
relics?
runes?
Relics aren't an upgrade.
Oh, it's just like okay.
It sits over.
I'm sorry.
Are you okay, dear?
I pissed someone off.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Was it another monk?
No, it was the tank.
Oh.
I switched
She
classes.
pissed the tank off? Oh.
He called for a limit break on the summoner, but I, for some reason, interpreted it as someone. So I limit break. He got mad at me. And he's like, you're not exactly a summoner. I'm like, I summon dragons at level 60. And he didn't find that funny. And I told him he's no fun. And he got all bitchy.
Oh.
But the summoner thought I was funny and commended me at the end.
Well, clearly, if she's a dragoon, then yes, there's dragons involved. So,
I love it.
Yeah. So there's no upgrade extractor for relics because they're just a piece of gear.
Right.
So,
I keep forgetting. Like that's something I think it is the hardest part in my brain. My brain still wants them to be like an upgrade for gear.
Right.
And like it just.
Which is something that like my brain was stuck on too before they showed us the equipment panel.
Right.
So my thought was originally to talk about, because this is the thing we've kind of been tiptoeing around, is talking about the loss of functionality on legendary runes, because technically, and I will not disagree with this, you are losing functionality on your legendary runes. It's happening. That is a thing that is happening. Oh my god, there were belt slots in Final Fantasy?
Oh yeah. What was it? Was it going into Stormblood that they got rid of those?
Are belts and bracers still a thing in WoW?
Yeah. I think they got rid of it going into Stormblood. Might have been Shadowbreaker. No, really? Was it in Endwalker? I thought it was longer.
Thank the dark gods we started in Endwalker. Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, completely different game discussion. So I agree. For everyone who is mad about loss of functionality on legendary runes, yes, I agree with you. You are losing functionality on the legendary runes. I agree with you. I would be more pissed if they weren't immediately saying, here is the replacement functionality.
Yeah.
That's the only ameliorating factor for me.
Yep.
Because they are immediately handing us the replacement functionality, saying this is the replacement functionality, and also acknowledging the fact that there are people who have made 7 legendary runes, because there are people who need to check off those boxes. Listen, there's underwater combat in WW. It's a thing that happens. It's not often.
Oh yeah,
but
we were doing it the other day.
Yeah, and I kept diving back into the water and survived several times because of it. But acknowledging the fact that people made them is great. I do agree with the fact that Ruby said that we're not just giving you the relic because the relics are going to go farther. And this is to go even further beyond. Thank you, Goku.
I think it's like, you remember, I was in team just give them the damn legendary relic, like who cares?
Yes.
But I think this is a good compromise. Like I said, it'll still remain to see what substantial means and if that lines up with what the people who made those expect, which probably won't. But I think it's a good way to handle it.
Yeah. Now, the other side of now, I did allude to it in the intro. There is an argument that I will tell people that they are absolutely just dumpster brain for making. And I do not care that I will piss people off by saying that, is thanks to viewer of the show, Mofongo Jones, posting a bunch of stuff in Twitter, or not in Twitter, in the Discord about this.
Oh, Discord. Yeah.
Some forum posts. It also came from Fennel, aka Softest Pup, in chat. People are legitimately saying that they have spent over $70 on the legendary runes.
Yeah.
Because you can convert real world money via buying gems to gold in game and taking the gold value of getting legendary runes, i.e. you buy everything via the trading post and then get your legendary runes, and saying,
But you can't go the other way.
I spent over...
turn in-game gold into real-world
No.
money.
And say, I spent over $70 on my legendary runes. No, you didn't. No one told you had to do that. If somebody opened their wallet and bought a shit ton of gems to buy their legendary runes, you're an idiot. I hate to just straight up call somebody dumb, but you dumb. That's an awful way to play a game, to throw your wallet at the screen, because it's the same reason that I hate using the instant level 80 that they give us every expansion for the pre-order, along with the extra slot. I didn't use my End of Dragons one until like a month ago or something.
I used to use it for new characters, but now I have characters of every profession and a couple of doubles, so now I just use it on already 80s.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, I know I'm missing out on this stuff. I don't care.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. But like the thing that bugs me is people say it's like, oh, this is over $70 worth of value. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. You didn't have to spend that money. ArenaNet doesn't owe you $70 because they're removing power from your legendary runes. Talking about real world money in a video game transaction,
even
is
just like
dumpster brain.
Just thinking about it, like working on legendaries and stuff. If I was looking at, well, I've been looking at crafting various legendaries, but if I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, I could just buy all of this stuff and it would cost me $70 to do it, like that's the cost of like an expansion with the bonus stuff and all the extra things. Is that really equal to legendary? No. Why would I do that? Like, for me, at least.
Yes, absolutely, Pup. I'm going to say this so it's for anybody who ends up listening to the VOD or the YouTube video when I get it up. Looking at activities in a game as their real world currency value would ruin video games for me. Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. It is awful. I hate it. The idea that people do it is just, I'm going to use a big word, anathema. I used to say anathema, but I hear too many people say anathema. But like, it's just, it would kill me. I would not be able to play video games.
Yeah. It's the same thing for me, like with people who rush to endgame in games and then have nothing to do. Like,
we've been
I
talking
can't
about
do games that way because it would ruin playing games for me.
We've been talking about Final Fantasy 14 a lot. This is where I drag the lazy peon a little bit, just a little bit. He took down the video, so he understands his mistake.
He took down what happened?
Well, because he did a video about talking about should you play 14, and it was like 2 years ago now. I think it was like at the start of either at the end of Shadowbringers or the beginning of Endwalker, and he was just skipping cutscenes.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't understand, where are the animations? Why doesn't things look cool? Why like, I don't care about the story. And he was skipping through, why do I care about these characters? And it's just like, dude, it's a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
And like, that's why he took it. It's like, people explained to him, is like, it's a Final Fantasy game. The fact that you're just skipping the cutscenes means you're completely missing the point.
Yeah, you're skipping the game.
So that's why I only say slightly drag him. Just a little bit. But the whole idea that like you could somehow, like this is the problem I have with people that rush to the end of content and like gun down the latest achievements for the latest content release every time it comes out and say there's no content for the game, and it's just like, because you destroyed all the content in the first week.
Mm-hmm.
You literally just treated it as a checkbox instead of just
Yep.
enjoying the game and going to play it and just like, oh, I'll do this today.
Yeah. Well, it's the same vein as people who like, I spent X many hours grinding this thing out and I hated every minute. Why? Why did you do it? You didn't
Why?
have to have that thing right away. Just do it in bits.
Like,
you
I
know?
will fully admit I'm not terribly enjoying the leveling grind for my ranger in WW, but I think that's just, I don't know if that's because I know what buildcraft is
Mm-hmm.
for a level 80 character, or if the leveling process for the game is just bad at this point. Because you can't use a second specialization slot until 45.
Mm-hmm.
Which just feels awful to me.
Over halfway to max level.
Yeah, it's just wild, because like I look at it and it's just like, the only reason I have the hero points to get to where I'm at is because I knew I had the proof of heroics to buy extra scroll to like get the hero points for myself. It's somebody leveling isn't going to know about it. Just unlock all 3 of the trait lines. It doesn't matter. I can't get a third trait line until 71.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
It's weird.
but okay, so we're still talking about legendary runes and how they interact with relics. You're losing effectiveness. I agree with that 100%. If relics didn't exist and they were just saying you're losing that ability, I'd be, on the side of like the flip table people. But they're giving us relics. Like the second they make the change, they're giving us relics. They're giving us free relics. They're telling us exactly how to get relics. All of the core relics are going to be crafted. All of the expansion relics are going to be story-based or achievement-based or collection-based, which makes sense because that's how a lot of the Ascended gear, like the Dragon stat, what was the other stat set they added with End of Dragons?
Oh shit. I don't know.
I can't remember, but like the Ascended versions of those stat sets for the trinkets, you had to do achievements or collections for. Ritualist, thank you, Pup. I knew it was a class. Oh god damn it, Discord, stop it! If I don't have my mouse moving on the window for the Discord stuff, the cameras just start doing this weird jitter thing, and it has just been driving me fucking up a wall. And it doesn't show on. So it's just client side. It's not showing on stream. So I apologize. I apologize if I've been looking like a little frantic as I'm sitting here, just kind of gesturing, because I'm just trying to not go ballistic with the way my screen is flashing at me. But I don't know like how else to appease people. This is like when we were all the way back in the Heart of Thorns days, when they're like, oh, if you buy Heart of Thorns, you get the base game. And then people are like, what about us veteran players? And it's just like, what about you? You played the game. You have all of Season 2 unlocked. The people who just buy Heart of Thorns aren't going to have access to all of those stats, all of those achievements, all of that gear, all of that story. Like, what the fuck do you want?
Yep.
Special treatment, yes, yeah, and it's just like you want to feel like a special kid. You want to be the special boy at the special party, and it's just like you've been here by virtue of being here. You're already there. Relics are a new race that everyone has to participate, but those with leggies with at least have and it's not even like now. Admittedly, Mofongo, I see you in the list on chat. I don't know. Oh wait, no, you're not here anymore, or at least according to Twitch. I don't know if you're still here. Mofongo, as I mentioned previously, has been giving us updates. Apparently, the average cost for all of the materials to make a single legendary rune have risen over 500 gold since the Secrets of the Obscure release, information release. So if you're gonna look to making legendary runes, don't do it now.
No.
At least
worst time
if you're looking to buy stuff from the trading post, don't do it now. It's not a great time. It's in fact if you want to sell stuff that's involved in the process of making legendary runes, Do that. That will make you a whole lot of money.
Yep.
But don't make them right now.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like it feels very much like the haves complaining that they have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like it's the thing I equated it to in one of the conversations in Discord was I played Paladin from the Sunwell patch in World of Warcraft all the way up to Throne of Thunder and Mists of Pandaria. Paladin got reworked every expansion. Like, significantly. There's no, hey, can you compensate me?
Mm-mm.
Like, that's not a thing. Like, I understand the whole point of getting Legendary in Guild Wars 2 is so you don't have to grind in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still gonna get, like, the concessions they've made for the Legendary Relic process, I think, are perfect. You're still gonna get new runes that they add to the game for free. You're not going to have to grind for them. You're not going to have to unlock achievements for them. You're not going to have to purchase them with gold. You have them because you have legendary runes, which is the point of legendary runes. If they add new stat sets to the game, your legendary armor and your legendary weapons are already there. So I feel like losing this one tiny bit, but also basically gaining it back on a completely new gear slot, not too much of a problem. Like, I feel like all of the clarifying posts that Ruby has made so far have been relatively solid.
Mm-hmm. Did we make it through all of her clarifying?
Yeah, it was just the 3 posts. Those were the 3 things that came out. And I agree, Zach. I'm gonna go pretty hardcore on the armor too because I would love to have legendary armor.
Yeah, I've got to figure out. Well, I guess the only real track for me to go would be the world versus world one because, like, getting a group together for the raid is
Arlee,
not going to happen.
I think you have to get to rank 800 or something.
Ugh.
I don't remember what the path is, but I'm not even close to it.
No, I know that, but like,
and I know you're at half of my WW rank. So,
but like getting into raid regularly to do that way is
we were trying to, and we got to 8 people.
Yeah.
And then we just couldn't get the last 2.
Yeah.
And that was the problem that we had in World of Warcraft for the longest time. Is we had to keep pugging 1 or 2 people every week, and it's just that's not what we want to do. Bless you, dear. Okay. Had to make sure it was just 1. But it's just needs rank 500. Okay, I'm not even at 200. So
yeah,
I don't have the time. If I were to get that, I could probably pull that off after 2 or 3 months of playing 2 or 3 hours a day. I don't have time to play WW 2 or 3 hours a day.
I also don't think I could stand doing that.
No, absolutely not. No, couldn't do it, and I don't want to hate the game. I do not want I love playing Guild Wars 2. I don't want to hate playing Guild Wars 2. I did that with World of Warcraft. I don't want to do that with another MMO. I love the combat. I actually love the story. I'm really curious to where we go with Secrets of the Obscure because we have this is just like the Endwalker moment, Final Fantasy 14. The Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker ended the story that started in 2.0. And End of Dragons ended the launch story of Guild Wars 2. So where are we going now?
Yeah.
It seems like we're dealing with some eldritch monstrosities from the depths of the mists, but we don't know because the mists can be fucking anything.
It's also I feel it now, but I think I won't really feel it until we get into the new story. But it's weird not having Aurene around anymore. It's going to be really weird when we get into the story and she's just still not there, you know?
Yeah, because we it was kind of always that moment of Elminster on a golden dragon.
Mhm.
For
Yeah.
you old was that Dragonlance? Elminster was Dragonlance?
No, Elminster was Forgotten Realm.
Oh right, sorry. Yeah, Forgotten Realms. Yeah, you're right. Elminster on a golden dragon. The Deus Ex Machina. Like we don't have that.
Yeah.
And even then, like the last time it felt like Aurene was in danger was dealing with Kralkatorrik. But then we found out that Aurene is technically immortal.
She
So-
was in danger at the beginning of End of Dragons. She got zapped and couldn't really do anything.
That's true. Because she didn't really know how to manage the magic coming through her.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and she got zapped with that dragon
Right.
sucking ray gun.
the dragon sucking ray gun.
Yes.
There
It's the
are
official name for it.
there are parts of the internet that will take that out of all different kinds of context. I am scared. But the dragon juicer, oh my god, hat. No! That just makes it worse. Deus Ex Machina.
I hope Bobby Stein listens to this because he would die laughing
Oh
at all
my
of this little
God.
section.
Well, no, when I posted it, I will tag him and I will say, Bobby, you need to listen to this. But worse or better, that depends on who you're asking, I suppose. But yeah, like not having Aurene for this is gonna be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, also because of her VO, because the voice actor they had
yeah.
for Aurene was fantastic.
But like, I don't know. Like, I just personally, for me, like the whole thing from when she was Neg and then she was little, and then the whole story, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of took for granted that she'd always be there.
Yeah.
And then we had the whole thing where she died, and that was like horrible. And
the fact that happened, and then we still had like a month before the next story release, and it's just
I love that they did that they let it sit there that she was dead. Like,
and I still are you just gonna roll all the way across the office, Oscar? Okay, there we go. Here's a good boy. Oh, so tough. You're gonna eat the cheese, you're just gonna fall over. I apologize. I can't not watch my dog. Oh, there we go.
puppy ham.
Hi. You good? Okay. Where were we?
Talking about how they left it.
Right,
as
Aurene.
Doreen had just
I
died.
still remember that when we were doing that episode of Talking Skritt, we were just like, damn, am I glad I didn't do this until right before the next chapter. Because I didn't want to just sit with that.
Oh yeah. And I didn't do that. And I was just like, oh my God.
And I still remember you being like, oh my god, Jim, you haven't done it.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, you're right, Deo. The Mersat story, yeah, like there was a lot tied to Aurene. So getting past Aurene is definitely going to be like, it's a Guild Wars 2 effectively. Because what is it? The Mo all those years ago, the story, or was it Colin? The story of Guild Wars 2 is the story of the dragons.
Mo, I think,
Was
said
Mo?
that
Okay.
originally.
Yeah. So it's just one of those moments. Was like, okay, what's Guild Wars 2 without the dragons? So, but
Well,
so-
I also wonder because there's been like rumors for years that they're working on Guild Wars 3, and I wonder if this is kind of like what was being construed as Guild Wars 3 was the story after Dragons.
well, I don't know. Like I suppose, like I kind of hope that they do what they did with Guild Wars 1, where they just keep telling the story until they don't think the engine can handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I like that kind of longevity. I don't like the idea of doing the same as like Call of Duty or even an EA Sports model, where it's just like we're moving to another game because that's how we rip more money out of you idiots.
Right.
So I
Call of
appreciate.
Duty is particularly bad because like a lot of times it's the same game, just a new game.
Well, that's even worse in EA Sports land. But
Yeah.
okay, we're getting very far away from Relics. Do you have any further things to talk about Relics? And that goes to you too, chat. Does anybody else
No.
have anything they want to talk about with relics here before
I
we move
don't
on?
have anything else to bring up with relics. I just want to reiterate that they really should not have a relic of the scholar. That would be cool.
Oh. Bobby, if you're listening to this, forward that bit on to Colin and just and the balance team and Grouch. Just let them laugh at it.
Yeah.
And
like,
and CMC, just let them laugh at it, just so they can pretend that they'd laugh at the fallout. But I don't want them to feel bad about it, because as a developer, I'm sitting here thinking about it from their angle, and it's just like, we just don't put Rune of the Scholar in it, Secrets of the Obscure launch, and it's just like, some men just want to watch the world burn.
oh, come on. You
In
want to
this case,
shake
it's
up
Arlee.
build, shake it up. Commit to it. That's what I'm saying.
At that point, he also had no part in making the game for a long while, so his comment didn't mean... Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. To be fair, for a long
time. That
time...
when he was still XO.
Yeah.
But
To
maybe not.
be fair, like, Guild Wars 2 was the story of dragons all the way up until the end of Dragons, so it's a lot of time. But the last, if chat, if you don't have any more questions or comments or questions like anything about relics, there is one thing for the last 15 minutes that I want to bring up that Deo brought up in our production Discord, is a generic idea about the continuation about the fact that ArenaNet has decided that Twitter will no longer be a primary point of communication. This came up a while ago, where they basically said that they're still going to be using Twitter. They didn't trust Twitter. It was the first time I've ever seen a company who made earnest, honest use of the platform, basically saying, we don't trust where this platform is going anymore. So primary communication for ongoing immediate communication is going to be on the forums. Or Teapot stream. We get to that. The point Guild Wars 2 made is that if you want up-to-date, like, minute-by-minute stuff on, like, stuff that, like, the servers are down, or they're hot-fixing something, they want you to go to the forums. The Twitter account was basically going to continue with, like, there's a patch out today, new Black Lion sale, new Black Lion stuff, regular stuff they can schedule is going to go on Twitter. Breaking stuff is going to hit the forums first. I have been of the opinion that any company that has a private forum for their game should not be making use of Twitter, Reddit, Discord for discoverable information. Discord isn't a wiki. I've seen a lot of people complain about that a lot, is that people spin up a game and they have a wiki, they have Discord, and they literally have a channel that is called Wiki, where they just have mods post stuff that are like frequently asked questions or stuff like that. I'm actually a moderator in a mobile game for that, where we have a fact channel where we post stuff, and it's just like, it's not an alternative, because if Discord dies as a platform because they keep making dumb fucking changes to the platform, yes, I will drag Discord while using Discord to stream the video and audio of this stream. Like, they did the weird crypto shit. They tried to be a Steam competitor for a bit. Now they did the stupid name change, like the username change, which, like, everybody's like, oh, they're going to sell off to another social media company. If you can maintain, my opinion is that if you can maintain a forum on your website, or a wiki on, like, a wiki-like thing on your own website, a company should do so. Because that way you can make sure that a repository of knowledge for your game doesn't just disappear. So there's that.
Yeah.
I am super happy to hear that they are moving to using the forums more often. I desperately wish that they would stop using the subreddit and communicating things that aren't in blog posts. And I really wish that they would stop giving more information out in streamer chats.
Yeah, that's the worst worst way to convey information for a multitude of reasons.
Yep.
But like the thing with, so like I personally feel like they should use as many vectors as they can. So like using Twitter, using Reddit, using their own forums is fine as long as all the information is consistent and it's posted to all of those places, because you're always going to have people who look some of those places but not all of those places.
Right.
You know? So it covers your bases. But if you're going to have forums, you need a community management, which means you need a community manager. And you need somebody to fill that role. And that role can't be filled by somebody doing other things,
Mm-hmm.
because that is a full-time hell of a job. And like, I think back, like one of the things, I used to love the BioWare forums. They had their own forums. It was
Really?
a great ecosystem. Every now and again, shit happened, you know, always on forums. But for the most part, I loved posting there. I loved talking to people there. It was a great way for them to communicate stuff. And I don't remember how long ago, but they decided to shut down those forums and move to Reddit as their main community server. And like that whole community just evaporated.
Mm-hmm.
Like Reddit is not great for a lot of those things of having those conversations, developing, like, you know, getting to know people on there.
Well, my biggest problem with Reddit is that it is an upvote system.
Mm-hmm.
Upvote systems promote echo chambers. Because if you post something that disagrees with common thought or even questions the prevailing thought on any given thing in a subreddit, you will get downvoted into oblivion and no one will talk. Like your thread
or
will
even
die.
if what you say is right, but nobody wants to hear it, you'll get downvoted.
Yeah. And it's not good for discussion. It never has been. It never will be. And now with Reddit being like, you need to download our app to use it on your phone. And it's just like, okay, so you just don't want me using an ad blocker on your shitty site.
Yeah.
But the subreddit is not great. I don't like the subreddit primarily because of the upvote downvote system. I don't even particularly like the format that you post on Reddit in, with the threaded conversations going down through everything. Call me an old man on the internet, but like the old school forum system of like posts in chronological order, even if you can quote people. Granted, this is probably for me spending a shit ton of time on MMO Champion. Like I feel like it's an easier way to comprehend a conversation that's going on. Now, to your point about having a community manager, the thread about relics went for 21 pages before Ruby made her first 6-point addendum. It went for another several pages before her second, another few pages before her third. People weren't reading things.
Yep.
And that's where the stupid argument about I spent $70 on these legendary runes came from. So it's one of those things where it's just like having a community manager to kind of put the brakes on things would be great. Also, having a community manager that has a team would be able to collate feedback from the forums to pass on to relevant teams, because there were 2 threads about the Elementalist Dagger 3 changes to Fire and Earth. So the Burning Rush and can't remember what the Earth one is called, but like the ones that dash you to the target.
Yeah.
People did not like, there were a ton of people that wanted the old functionality back where you could dash through the target.
Yeah.
No communication in either of those threads back from Grouch or CMC or anybody. And there was a whole bunch of people who were like, we don't like this. And they're like, just untarget. And it's just like, the game doesn't want you to untarget. The game isn't designed for me to untarget something, to dash through it. That's not how encounters are designed. That's not how PvP is designed. Like you want to be clicked on somebody to see them, to have the highlight ring around them, to show me what their animations are, what the buffs they have are. Clicking off of a target is not an adequate solution for an action combat game.
Right.
The fact that they don't have a community manager, do they still not have a community manager?
I don't think so.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Like you need that. You need a community manager to be able to dedicate, and a team to manage the forums. Then that's just to moderate, to keep people from being shitty. And then also to collate the feedback and give it to the relevant teams.
Yeah.
And that is at minimum for a game like Guild Wars 2, you need 10 people. Probably 12. Because you need community manager, and then you need one person per class in the game. And you need that person to actually play the game with that class. And then you need 2+ other people for all of the other subforms. Also, hi Kit and hi Kit viewers. How are y'all doing tonight? You've come to the end of the rant about the community management. I dare say this is the end of the stream. We've got like 5 minutes left. I will be cutting this up as a VOD on Twitch. This will be going up on the YouTube channel. We primarily talked about relics for the first hour and a half.
Yep.
Hour and a half talk about relics. I did call people dumpster brained.
You need to put that in the title. Malthanis says you are dumpster brain.
I'm going to point at my cat. And there she goes. But yeah, I did call people dumpster brained for one specific argument that was being made. So you'll have to watch the VOD or wait for the YouTube video to see that. But right now we're talking about the forums, which I love the fact that they're moving
how
to it.
internet communicates in forums,
and they absolutely need 12+ people for a community team.
Yeah,
they need a manager. They need they might not necessarily need 12+, but they need a dedicated person per profession for each profession forum. Because how long did I manage the Paladin forums on MMO Champion by myself?
Yeah,
even after I stopped playing the goddamn game.
Yeah, it also depends on like, well, I mean, I did the same thing with priest. Like, I was a priest for a long time, and I still was priest mod. But like, it also depends on volume of hosts. Like, one person can watch multiple things more easily when the volume of posts is low. But there is a break point. But having better community management in general could really cultivate the forums to be a really good place for people to go and discuss things and have their feedback seen by devs, and for the devs to communicate feedback and different things to the community. Yeah,
which, like, for example, the 2 threads that I talked about for the Elementalist Dagger Dash changes, there should have only been 1 thread.
Yeah.
So the second one of them was created, or the second one is created on mod, should have been like, oh, hey, duplicate thread, close or merge or something.
Yeah.
So
depending on
how they have it set up. But like, yeah, you need those people to do that. And it's primarily to collate the feedback. Like, that's the big deals. Cal and Grouch shouldn't, and the balance team shouldn't have to troll their own forums.
They should be working on the game.
To clarify for people who might not have heard that probably, TRAWL, which is to dredge or like pull a net behind. It's a fishing term. You need to go through that. They shouldn't have to go through that forum along with running all of the math, along with all the other data they get from stuff coming out of the game. They shouldn't have to do that. Like, that's something for a community team to do. And the fact that they don't have that is not great. It basically means that a lot of the community feedback just is kind of like shouting into the wind.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to feel like my community feedback shouting into the wind is nothing. And then the problem I have is, like, I don't mean to throw shade at Teapot, because like, the man makes playing Guild Wars 2 his job. And I love the fact that we have like somebody who is showing off our game. But like, I stopped watching him because it felt like he was getting a little too sensationalist with his content. That's a me thing. I'm not saying that anybody else should stop watching him, but I thought he was getting a little too sensationalist. Even his video about the Relic post, he talked about, I don't want to have to go to an NPC every time I want to change my Relic. And it's like, that's not how it's going to work, because he's kind of just skipping the context of the fact that we're playing Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
For every other thing where we've gotten a piece of gear gotten a gear unlock for a story chapter, a collection, or an achieve, like anything, we get a copy of it, and then we have laurels. We give laurels to a vendor. So that's the only way. Troll, more like TRL. Carson Daly. Oh my God.
Throwback.
Aging into, it's that, what is that Matt Damon gif where he just suddenly ages. What's that? Is that the Benjamin Button one? Yeah, that's what I feel like right there. Oh God. Yeah. I'd kick you from the channel, but that would be rude. I get kicked from Discord a lot these days because Kel doesn't like puns.
So I was gonna say that, like, yeah, I dislike him. So I dislike them posting clarifications in chat streamers, because for the same reasons I don't really watch Teapot, but now I feel like I need to watch Teapot just in case they post something that's an update, which is not fair to Teapot because I'm not interested in this content really, but
you're
like,
interested in who's in chat,
right? And I feel like that's a disservice to streamers as well as to ArenaNet, because like, when you're posting in a streamer's chat, you are talking to a subsection of a subsection of a subsection of a community. Like, that's not an effective. And I get the impetus, like having been like on the dev side of some different things. I get seeing people making comments and wanting to clarify, but it's always not always the best way to do it immediately.
Like I would love to have people from ArenaNet in our chat. I know for a while Bobby was listening to the talking
jumped in.
Yeah, like we've had some people in chat, but I don't want like exclusive information here because this isn't the place for it.
Right.
I don't have the reach that the Guild Wars 2 forum has, that a Guild Wars 2 blog post has. This needs to go to all, because the subset of people that look at the Guild Wars 2 homepage is like 20 to 25% of the people that actually play the game. Maybe give it 30 because people open the client and they see the blog post listed in the news section. Maybe they'll click on it if they're interested in that. But still, you're looking at 30% of the people actually seeing the news posts. That's an even smaller subset for the people who follow on Twitter. An even smaller subset of people, like another subset of people on the Reddit, a smaller subset of people that go to the forums, and even then, you have an even smaller subset of people for all three of those that actually post about the game.
Right.
People that actually get into, what did Bog get hired as? Digital marketing, dear?
Yeah, I think that was something in digital marketing.
Digital marketing. So I don't know. I don't know if he's like community manager, but like it's just digital marketing, which, to be entirely honest, I kind of am happy to hear that they're hiring marketing people. Because for the longest time, I know Mo's whole philosophy was like, we're going to make the players our evangelists.
Digital marketing specialist.
Community as well. Oh, that's cool too. Like hearing like advancing stuff into community and marketing is two things that ArenaNet definitely needs to do.
So like that's kind of my thing too, but like the role as like community manager, community development and all of that, I understand the overlap with like digital marketing and stuff, but it really needs to be separate roles because it's different focuses, different mechanisms, and to be done well, like you need somebody who's full-time focusing on that.
Yeah.
Working on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's nice to see hiring there, but like it is really like I want them to focus more on their own forums. Honestly, I'd love to act like I would legitimately like to see the Guild Wars 2 Twitter account just disappear.
Oh, I like the Twitter.
I do too. I really do. It's just at this point, like, Mr. Elon, buy the solution to the problem I caused, Musk problem. Yeah, it's just they have their own forum. They've always had their own forum. I feel like they would be far better served by cultivating their own forum and getting people to go to their own forum. Honestly, they got that Chromium browser in for the trading post. Put the forum in the game.
Yeah.
Like, put a forum button in the goddamn game.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I've noticed that as well. Like the newsletter is always like way after the fact of when an announcement or a thing happens.
I subbed to the newsletter. I made sure I subbed to the newsletter. I don't know where my mailbag is. I've also never gotten I don't know if I've ever actually gotten the newsletter in my email, because I got the like, hey, Vincent Weil, because I think they use the character name that's the oldest character on your account, and Vincent is my elementalist. It's like, hey, Vincent, such and such, like Dragon Bash. It's always like the day of for those events, but I don't know if that's the newsletter. I think that's just marketing. Is that the newsletter?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
for sure.
Because like,
mine's always hey Arlee, because my oldest is my mesmer named Arlee.
Is this rose has thorns?
Yes.
You won't hear that anymore. Retaliation is gone.
I know.
So you can play your mesmer again. You don't want to.
Mesmer's boring.
That's a shame. That's part of it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm missing out of it. I think I got my mailbag, but I'm not 100% certain.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't think I ever got mine.
Well, Pop, I think it's it's the most played character. Yeah. In a recent, I think it just snapshots whatever you most played, and my elementalist is definitely, absolutely my most played. Though I'm fairly certain at least a third of that time is running around Lion's Arch doing literally nothing while talking on Ventrilo with people in Gamebreaker Nation. Thanks, Arlee.
You're welcome.
It's Arlee's fault that I'm here doing this podcast.
Say, Krista got the game for him. I'm the problem. I pulled him back in.
Shut up, Deo.
All of this crazy stuff.
Shut up, Deo. I'm gonna actually make you one of these days. I'm actually gonna make use of my co-host account, and I'm going to post my entire Catalyst rant, and then there's going to be an exclamation point Catalyst rant or exclamation point Catalyst command for this that'll just link to the co-host post. That'll be it. You can just exclamation point co-host in chat, and it'll just give you my Catalyst rant. Every time somebody says Catalyst in chat, it'll just auto-respond. It's like, here's the link. Ranger. What's wrong with Catalyst? Catalyst is boring, Angira. That's the problem with Catalyst.
It doesn't feel good
to
me to play.
Okay, brief tangent, because people are talking about it. Deo, this is your fault. Talked about it before the stream with Tavik. Catalyst does not feel unique enough between Weaver and Tempest to deserve to be an elite spec. That is the most succinct way I can put it. Because at the moment, Catalyst is boon DPS. The boon is currently quickness, whereas Tempest is alacrity. But at the same time, it's boon DPS, which is what Tempest is. It would be far better to see Tempest have the option to switch between alacrity and quickness and make Catalyst its own fucking thing. Augments are just stances. They are a personal buff that you press that is instant activation. In some case, I think it actually has cast times on some of them, but I also think Weaver stances have some cast times on them too. But like, they're stances with the minor caveat of, if you use this inside the orb of the right, it's the additional, like, you use this in the right attuned orb. No one, like, if you get it, you get it. It's not something you actually strive to do. So the augments as a skill are just stances, but worse.
Yeah.
So that's my problem. And then even the traits themselves are boring. Like, the traits are so like, I love the idea of celestial everything, but the traits themselves are so boring that it doesn't feel like you're getting an overall stat bump to the things you do, but you're not actually striving to do a specific thing. That's my problem with Catalyst.
Yeah, we've been saying that LE traits in general need a big
The
rework.
entire profession needs a rework. Profession needs a rework. I hate to say actually no, I will say that Weaver and Tempest can be fine. They're fine
I
as
was gonna
is.
say, like, I agree that overall rework would be good, but I do love my Weaver.
Yeah, Weaver. I think Weaver trait lines and Tempest trait lines are fine. Arcane is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But Fire, Water, Earth, and Air need completely revamped, and Catalyst needs to go in the wood chipper and turn into something else.
I think Fire, you could make it better just by tweaking some things, changing a few things without redoing the entire thing. Water definitely, I feel like, needs, like, who attunes to water, like what, like, uses the water trait line, not attunes, uses the water trait line.
I do actually. Yes, I do.
You do actually use the water trait line.
The Heal Alacrity Tempest, the build that Gift gave me, is actually entirely, like, the healing from it is based entirely on having the Grandmaster trait that, like, triples the effectiveness of the water healing aura.
Okay.
And it lasts for like 6 to 8 seconds after you swap out of water. So it's water, then fire, and then go to overload, and then water, and then go to like, it's water element overload, water other element overload. So you're always swapping back into water before the aura falls off, and you're keeping the pulsing healing up, but also providing all those boons. But like the problem is, like, I know, like, a lot of the water trait line is actually fairly good, but like Earth, Fire, and Air feel very siloed in that you need to use that element to justify using that trait line.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the problem that we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the racial skills that Pop brought up about Revenants not having racial skills. And you said the thing about the Revenant legends being tied to the trait lines that they were introduced with. So the issue therein lies, like, do you use Ventari without actually slotting Salvation? Like, does that actually feel like it works? It's weirdly spelled as Druid, though. Yeah, I know, Torment. And the profession name is weirdly spelled Ranger, and all the particle effects are just green and leafy.
People keep talking about there being Druids in Guild Wars 2, but I don't know what they're talking about. I've never been a Druid. I don't get that option.
Well, Pop, the reason that Dwarf is the only one used with that trait line is because, to quote Deo, Dwarfs are the best and are always useful.
I think I always use Glint and Ventari.
I think that the problem with Glint was the fact that, like, it was designed, like, the biggest problem with Revenant on Heart of Thorns release is that it was, like, the elite spec was too powerful. Like, there was
designed to use the elite spec.
There were no Revenant builds on launch that did not use Herald. But that's because Herald was too strong. Yeah. That Deo's Prophecies build actually was meta for quite some time, and then fell out of meta, and then was back into meta, and then, like, Deo's build just every so often is, like, exactly what you need from a Herald. This is more a balance. I'm gonna have to figure out what the hell I'm gonna title this chapter for the podcast. It's gonna be something.
Random shit.
Somebody poked me into the Catalyst rant again, so
that could be the title of this chapter.
Yeah, but it's just, I think that's the biggest problem with any of the elite specs is you have to fill a niche. And my biggest problem with Catalyst is the Catalyst doesn't fill a niche. It just tries to be both Tempest and Weaver at the same time and fails at both because it's not focusing. And Pop, you said you liked Hammer. I would like Hammer a hell of a lot more if it decided on a range.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it was all ranged or all melee, I would be fine with it.
Juicing dragons and other nonsense. Oh my god, Hat. Oh. Gods and demons, maybe. Well, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why fire and air have a 600 range auto attack and are just... See, the problem I have with the air auto attack is the air auto attack travels along the ground. It's not actually a projectile. So if you
But
go...
it's air.
But if you go anywhere... So this is the problem with it, though. Go to the Silver Wastes and try and fight inside a keep. Your projectile disappears into the ground. It's the same problem with Dagger Mainhand on Elementalist. Fire and water. Because your projectile travels along the ground.
But in fairness, it makes sense for fire to travel on the ground and water to travel on the ground. It doesn't make sense for air to travel on the ground.
But the fire attack is a fireball in Hammer.
It's fire lines.
Old Mesmer staff auto. Wait, was the staff auto for Mesmer orbs a ground locked projectile too? Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's awful.
I was gonna say I used staff on Mesmer for all of a minute until I discovered I could use a great sword. So
Pat is our resident Mesmer expert when Kel isn't in chat.
that's
Oh
amazing.
my god, Deo. Well, it's been since Heart of Thorns, so I don't think it's necessarily too soon.
Too soon.
But yeah, like that, it's one of my biggest problems with Catalyst is it tries to be too many things and fails at all of them.
Yeah. Pick something, do it well.
And it's one of those things where like I'm actually kind of happy they're not releasing elite specs with Secrets of the Obscure. To tie this back all to like talking about the new expansion coming out. The fact that we're getting elite spec weapons unlocked, I think is super cool. The fact that we're getting new baseline weapons for everything. I am absolutely looking forward to pistols for my mains. So main hand offhand pistol for my Guardian, main hand pistol for my Elementalist. I have
Sword Warhorn.
You can do Sword Warhorn. And actually, Sword Warhorn with my old Fresh Air Tempest build is a shit ton of DPS.
Yeah, it was really good on my Weaver build too. I was super happy with that.
Sword Warhorn on my old Fresh Air Raid Tempest build on Celestial gear was 15k DPS on Celestial gear. I have like a mixed Assassin Berserker set that's my old Raid physical DPS stuff. 100%. Well, it might not be 100% because it's Scholar runes. No, it was Eagle runes. I want to know what's going to happen to my Eagle runes because I didn't want to pay for Scholars at the time, so I just went with Eagle.
Oh, yeah.
But I went with Eagle runes, so I'm kind of wondering what that can do with Sword War. So I'm looking forward to that.
Soft Pup saying the people wanting new elite specs, I do not understand. I swear to God, there is a segment of community that always wants new elite specs. Like the day after new specs come out, they want new specs.
Well, it's
like
so far, elite specs have been the only thing that is a through line of expansion feature for Guild Wars 2. Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, End of Dragons, always new elite specs.
Yeah.
However, with core, because you have to understand, like, people have to accept the fact that wanting to not have an elite spec is a valid option. Every time you add a new elite spec line, you are adding 9 new classes you have to balance.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with them stopping at 4. 36 classes to balance? Fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine.
We had this argument all through Path of Fire too. People were wanting elite specs way before they had even come anywhere close to balancing the new elite specs, and we were like, it would be detrimental to the game to have new elite specs right now.
And then there was the Mirage Supremacy era in PvP. That's why I stopped playing. That's why I stopped doing Zero to Hero on Thursday nights. Actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's because of Mirage in Path of Fire. I stopped playing PvP because the ability, because Mirages took the so with Mesmers in PvP, you figured out who the real Mesmer was, you could do it. But when a Mirage basically says, I'm going to reposition my clones every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. We're having a dream. And we're done. Thank you, Pup, for the one thing that I forgot to bring up from one of our conversations on Discord about PvP is relics in PvP.
Oh, yeah.
No one's asked the question, it seems, in the forums for Ruby to clarify, but I fully, like, Pup brought this up in the Discord about things being basically just like amulets. Click on slot, choose the relic, press it, some will be gold locked.
Yeah. The same way like some things are
like your runes, your sigils, your amulets, it's going to be the exact same way. Because there's no other way for them to really do it.
Right. If they did any other way, it would be a huge change on the system. Is he sleeping? Aww.
He's right by Chris's chair. His paws are going. But yeah, that's the one thing I forgot to add because I thought about it while we were talking about the relics, and I just completely forgot to bring it up because we were talking about probably when I started calling people dumpster brained. This just kind of flew out of my head. But yeah, like there's no real way to add. I think that was one of the reasons why people were like bitched about Icebrood Saga, and like this isn't an expansion's worth of content. It's just like it hasn't released yet.
Yeah.
The whole thing hasn't come out yet. And they're like, but where are the elite specs? It's like, it doesn't have to be an elite spec. It's a whole new story with whole new maps and whole new features.
Well, I think that's another aspect is that people complain about not having content and whatnot, but people tend to discount story as content.
Well, that's because the story is terribly written, Arlee. Didn't you know that?
Oh, my bad.
It's also probably the people who skip the cutscenes and skip the ambient dialogue and just want the NPCs to move faster. And
I mean, it's fine if you don't care about that stuff, but
The
just because
biggest-
you don't care about it doesn't mean it's not content.
the biggest complaint I do have about the writing in Guild Wars 2 is I feel like we don't have enough time with the characters to really feel it when things happen to them. Like, the perfect example is Belinda.
Yeah.
How many people in chat remember Belinda Delacroix?
Like, I felt mostly
bit.
bad about
Little
Belinda because I knew it was going to have a big effect on Marjorie.
Right.
It wasn't that I cared about Belinda.
But-
It was how's it going to affect Marjorie.
But you also knew, because you had read the blog posts that no longer exist because it was on their own website,
True.
that Marjorie was a really big on her family.
Yeah.
She was a huge family person. I didn't know that. So I'm like, oh, her sister's dead. That sucks. Like, I see that's her motivation to fight Mordramoth, but, like, kind of already had motivation to fight Mordramoth. And then also, Belinda's soul is in her sword, which was kind of implied that she's kind of sort of a Reaper, but, like, also nothing ever happens with that.
Yeah. Which is disappointing.
A Belinda Revenant legend? That would be pretty sweet, actually, because then you could actually have the, she could be a Seraph legend. So you could, like, that could be a racial legend for humans. Like, you could, like...
Oh, the concept of racial legends for revenants?
And then your elite skill could be summoning the spirit of Logan Thackeray, and it teleports you 7,000 units backwards.
Commander Snow.
Commander Snow. Oh my god. No, Chris has been watching new players in both Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy 14 lately, and there's a guy she was following. Is it Englethorpe that does that, or was that Longfellow?
It was another guy. I think it was Longfellow.
Okay. He calls Logan Commander Snow because the voice actor for Logan is also the voice actor for Snow in Final Fantasy 13.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They're both equally annoying characters.
They are both equally annoying characters at times. Logan's gotten better. Snow doesn't really get all that much better, at least in the original 13. I haven't played 13.2 or 13.3. Gotta finish the post EOD Marjorie story. Does Marjorie have story post EOD?
A little bit.
Where?
It's just
See, this is where I have a huge problem about Guild Wars 2 not having like an honest to god questing system.
Oh no. Yes,
It's a collection.
collection.
So
Yeah.
honorary Delacroix. Yeah, so it requires you to dig through the achievements panel, which I have complained enough about.
Oh my god, that needs talking about things that need a revamp.
Oh
the
my God.
collections. Oh my
That's-
god.
that-
Trying to
that's
find
something-
anything.
That's something that needs to be like this is why you need an honest to god questing system in this game, because burying stuff in the collection system, garbage. You miss out on so much. Like collections to me are things that like, oh, collect all of the Twilight Arbor weapons and armor.
Mm-hmm.
That's a collection. The honorary Delacroix title, that's a quest.
Mm-hmm.
That requires effort. That requires something over somebody's head to be like, hey, dummy, go talk to that person or go interact with that object. Okay, Tavik, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out.
I was gonna say we need to wrap up soon.
Yeah, we do, because it is 10:20 on my end. So, that will be it for us tonight. We are going to go and be done and go sleep. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us tonight. And then Arlee, I can't even do the outro anymore. Arlee, where can they find you?
On well, not really Twitch. I'm not streaming again. I'm on a streaming hiatus. I was gonna stream this weekend and I decided not to. But on Twitter at Arlee82. I'm on Blue Sky these days. Arlee. Yeah.
Yay! And you can find my dumb face. Cut to the intro because I couldn't remember if I'd turned the intro off. You can find my dumb face still on Twitter at MalfanusMMO. Briefly, I'm not tweeting a lot. I will like your posts if you follow me and I know you and I follow you back because like I like the stuff my friends post. But I'm probably going to move primarily my social media presence personally to co-host, which I'll post that link at some point. When I do the Catalyst rant, when I actually type the whole Catalyst rant out. I'm trying to move. I have a Mastodon account set up for Mad Realms. I'm just going to go to one because Elon took TweetDeck away from me and I'm not paying the man $8 so I can tweet Guild Wars 2 specific stuff from the Talking Skritt account or everything else from Mad Realms account. So I just have the Mad Realms account on Twitter right now. Mad Realms is just going to move entirely over to Mastodon because that was the option I had. And Jack doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me for Blue Sky. Mostly because
Understandable.
he didn't exactly do a great job with Twitter and then he left it. Yeah. But that'll be primarily Discord in the description is the easiest way to get anything going on with everything we've got going. So there's that. I will be streaming a little bit more. I might even stream tomorrow night. Definitely going to be here Tuesday. If Arlee can't make it, I'll probably be doing more WW leveling because that's been a ton of fun. And dying, I don't die almost instantaneously anymore, which has been great. But other than that, more information to come on Discord. But ladies and gentlemen, you all have a fantastic evening. We will see you next time. Good night, everybody. That's where you say goodbye, Arlee.